The key to success on social media is not to post more content, to be visible every day and every time. So maybe when you just starting out, you need to be visible more than other people who stay a little bit longer in the business. But as times go by and people get so familiar with your content, with your face, with your branding and everything, there's a time where you need to step back a little bit and then evaluate whether you should do more or you should do less. So here's my experience from my entrepreneur journey. The first 2 or 3 years, I was so dynamic in the business. I charged my service not high price like nowadays, and I do a lot of marketing campaigns and in order to get new clients. And I remember in only 2 or 3 months I get almost 500 or 600 customers going through my course and buying my DVDs. And also because that time I was the pioneer in the industry in Vietnam, no one did online business like I did, so people was very curious about my course and my business model and everything. And that was the time because internet and online learning was not something that new to many people. That's why when you the pioneer in that industry, people like you can attract a lot of people, you get a lot of clients. But because at the beginning you normally cannot charge high for people who just newly know about who you are and they've not familiar with the idea or the business model. So that time I had a lot of customer in only 2 years, and I had almost 2,000 students studying with my methodology and buying my DVDs. So that time I was very dynamic and I constantly think about new campaigns, launch new products, and I always have full of idea about the marketing strategy and everything. And my mindset at that time was the more I create or the more I represent myself on social media, the more attention I get. And that was the time where when you showing up more is when you will get more attention. But nowadays the business models and online business model is different. The more that you available to social media, it doesn't mean and it doesn't equal to the more sales or the more customer that you get. I used to read a book about marketing and also a little bit about psychology. When advertisements they do campaigns, and if you appear like more than 7 times, it will backfire on the audience. But if you appear in people like social media and TV, they see you like around 5 times to 7 times, maybe they will be curious about your offer and your service. But when you show up too often, like more than 7 times with the same thing, the same idea, people will get annoyed by you, and from curiosity they will become a little bit annoyed by your presence. So the same thing that the most famous musical bands, they use this psychology. When you see like celebrities and people in music industry, we see that they will not be active like for 10 years. Maybe they will be like extremely famous for 2 years, and then it will be cooled down, and not because of the audience but because that they have a strategy to cool down. They need to avoid social media, they need to avoid the community, the audience for maybe like 1 or 2 years, and then they go back again to the market and have a new hit or new albums and release new things. And why it's necessary for business to do the same model like celebrities do? For me, for people who want to do personal branding, this is a good strategy, because you don't want to become something that boring to your audience. Every time you appear, you need to bring something that newness to the audience, and you cannot do the same thing over and over again and hoping that this will work for 3 or 5 or 7 years. That's not how the business works. Every year or every 2 years, you need to change something. Even the people that you work with, even your target customers, or even your service and your offer and your marketing strategy. So every time you appear again, you should have something new to give to the clients, because psychology, like people, we all have human nature. We have that tendency to easily get bored of what we see that is just repeat again and again. And this is also the strategy that fits my personality and my brain really well, that normally I will focus on appearing and working very actively on social media for maybe 3 months, 6 months, and then I will cool down a little bit. I will not be visible so often like before anymore. And then during that time, I think about new ideas or come up with new things and evaluate what I did. Is that something that works or not? And maybe I can rest for 1 or 2 or 3 months and then coming back with new ideas and new strategy. And before I have that tendency, so that every time that I appear again, people will see something that new. They see a new me, they see a new product, or they see a new marketing messenger. They always see something that new and excitement. And I even it's not considered something that consistent, that you do day by day and stick to the rule every year. For my business, consistency means that I will do something that maybe that it will repeat, but also I will also break the recycle repeat. For example, this year I will have an offline event. Maybe next year I have one offline event, and maybe the next year I will not have an offline event. And then people start asking why there's no offline event, and they will start missing the brand. So that is something about psychology, that you learning about psychology and human behaviors can also help you doing better with your business, and even with your employees and your partners and every people that you work with. You always need that newness, and that how revolution and new creative ideas comes to the surface. Also, this is something that very match with my personality. And I think that the way that you run business it should be something that match your personality, and also the quality of the industry. I work in musical industry that needs some creativity and newness. Therefore, I cannot repeat one thing and just appear the same every time I show up. But there's some industry that require you to be consistent, that you need to show up every day and do a 9 to 5 job or something like that. So maybe before you go into any industry, you should ask yourself that the quality or the requirements of this industry, what does it need? Is it familiar with your personality, or it match your personality? And if you feel like, okay, this industry and the way the industry works, it's something that's relevant to my personality, then you can choose the industry. But if not, you cannot mold yourself into someone or something that you're not familiar with, or you don't feel happy and enjoy doing. Coming back to the topic of less is more, before I have a lot of clients, but they will pay lower price, for example, and maybe I don't have that type of engagement on the personal level with all of the clients because I have so many. But then I raise my price over time. Every year I change a little bit on the policy. And also I inform people about my business model, that I will change the policy or maybe my offer and my pricing every year. So I give that expectation for people, not just show up and change everything all of a sudden, but I always have a warning and show people how to expect from my business. And that's why people still see me as something that consistent. I'm not someone that, okay, I will change, I just want to change and then I change. And it doesn't happen like that. If you just change suddenly, people will consider you as a little bit flaky and not trustworthy. So if you give first like inform to people how they should expect from you and the business model that you run in, is a better way. And since I have less clients, I raised the price. So now I serve more personal clients and they're willing to pay me more and engage with the brand more, and also they will be ambassador for the brand. So not always more is more, but less is more. It comes with the personal level that people want to be served and the kind of results that they want to get from your business. Sometimes you should slow down and build more on quality than quantity. And there's nothing wrong with having quantity, like a load of information and everything is like so many information and services. But sometimes you should simplify things, cut things down, and also see that what are things that you can do less but create more results. And also there's something that what are the things that you don't need to do more in order to get results. This is some of the reflection that you should do for on your business every 2 or 3 months or every year to adapt more to the business environment. So that's how I did with my business for the past 7 years. And for most of the entrepreneurs, they change their title or they jump to another career every 1 or 2 years, but it's just not who I am. And when I stick to an industry, I will consider that I will be the person who run the long run, and also I will be the person who stay in the business or who stay in the industry for the longest run. So whenever I open something or I do something, I will always think about the long-term thing, not that, okay, I will win in only 2 or 3 years. People know about me in that 2 or 3 years and then I gone. So business is something that a long run, and in order to run the long run, you should prepare yourself with the right mindset, and also changing and adapt to new environments, and don't be afraid to change and go out of your comfort zone. But also you should have a consistency and the trustworthiness so that people know how they should expect from you. So the final questions on the podcast today is that what are things that you think you should do less, and what are things that you think that you should do more, and the more you do, the better the better results you have. And there's something that the less you do, you will have the better results. So have some thinking about that, and see you in the next podcast. Thank you for listening. Bye.